What's your take on long distance relationships?
Long distance relationships. Well, my take on long distance relationships is that it's something that you need to go into well informed.
Mm-hmm.
The reality of the world we live in now is that one income is no longer enough. So you might find yourself in a situation whereby one person will have to go outside your normal, maybe the country you're living in, to find better opportunities. And that may happen in a situation whereby the other partner may not be able to move at the time because they may also have established career, established job. So they may not be able to move with their partner, which is what we're used to. But in this time and age, more people are focused. People are going to job beyond just earning an income. They're going to job to find a sense of meaning, to make contributions. So you can't just unplug them from a company that gives them those opportunities. So we're finding more couples living apart for job related reasons, for different or some other reasons. So we're going to be seeing more situations where more professionals who are married are forced or have to live apart for a long time, for infinite time, for a speculated time.
Infinite.
Yeah, some people don't have a plan on when it's going to come to an end. So in their head, let's just be going, let's see how it turns out. But some people say, you know what, we're going to do this for 5 years and then we'll come back together. All right, so we're going to be looking into that today. So my take on long distance, to answer your question, is that it's something you have to go into informed, well informed, because it's going to bring some strain on your relationship and your marriage. You have to think about that.
Okay, you've spoken to married couples.
Yes.
What about people who aren't married yet?
For people who are not married yet, what I would recommend to people who are not married yet is, if you start through a long distance relationship, have a timeline to it, to say, you know what, you might start through a long distance relationship, have a plan to create closure. Otherwise, this is going to spill over into your marriage. In other words, once you like it, some people like long distance marriage, by the way. Some people are married, but they can't stand each other in the same space. COVID told us that. COVID pandemic told us that. All right. So whereby many people like they like the idea of a partner that doesn't stay home, that goes away for a long period of time, because they believe that if they're in the same space, they're going to quarrel, they're going to fight. Not realizing that conflict is natural occurrence in a relationship. It's only when conflict spirals out of control because it's not properly managed, or because the people in it is not mature. They are not mature enough to handle the reality of conflict. Conflict exists in every type of relationship, even work relationship. But there are ways of managing conflicts, and there are benefits of conflict. So for single people, long distance marriage, you have to be able to make time or find a way to address some of the issues we're going to be highlighting. So, for example, when you are in a long distance relationship with someone that you guys are dating, there are many things you will not know, which you can only know when you are having constant interaction with the person in the same physical space. There are some things you will not know. You may not know the person's hygiene. You may not know how the person treats other people. Right. Because you have not attended, you've not gone out together. You see how they talk to waiters, or how they talk. You might not see some things that's naturally you pick up by what we call proximity. All right, so you have to find a way to find out this, because getting married to someone is a very massive decision. You are going to give that person access to your life, to your finances, to your mental health, access to your future, because the person will be speaking to your life. You're going to be giving access into, even your spirituality. All right. So it's not a decision you just see someone, and just say, yeah, that's the person. No, you have to do some thorough, which we wrote some of these things in our book, Red Flags, Relationship Red Flags. You may want to pick up the book. Yeah.
Okay, decisions. Hey, thank you for joining us. I am Chidi Akunna.
And I'm Victor Akunna.
If you're new to our YouTube channel, thank you for joining us. Feel free to go through our channel. We've got a lot of resources we know you will benefit from.
Absolutely.
Hey, we have decided to do this topic, to treat this topic, because it's come up as question.
Yes.
And I mean, it's just something that is in the air. A lot of people are making decisions to live apart. So how does this affect you? And then for some single people, they're in that place where they're considering, I like this person, but we're not in the same time zone. We're not in the same area. Should I be going into this relationship with this person, and for how long? That's why I like what you said about having a timeline to it. But let's talk about some of the pros and cons of this. But at Foundation for Family Affairs, I will not fail to tell you, our mission is to connect hearts, and raise healthy families. Yes, it's so key to us that hearts are connected. Because you see people who are in a relationship, and one of the reasons they don't connect is long distance relationship. And that's why the topic we're talking about today is really important. One of the points we know that must be taken into consideration if you're considering going to a long distance relationship is communication. Oh yes, you could have communication issues. Imagine living in different time zones, maybe you're 6 hours apart. And when you're waking up is when the other person is maybe in the middle of the day, already grinding. And there's no time to pause to check on the other. What do you do? So sometimes there could be that communication gap where you're not catching up on all the details you need to. Or so it's just nice that when you're in a relationship with someone, at least there's a good morning wake up call and a good night kiss, something like that. So when you're in different time zones or the person is not available, you may be in the same time zone but the other person may not be available, then what happens? And some people just, if you're married, some people are they like the hugs while in bed. So this it's something else. But yes, communication will be hindered or could be hindered if practical steps are not taken.
Yes. I would like to ask you a question and react to something that was really good that you talked about. So the question I'd like to ask you is, there was a time we were dating that we were in a long distance relationship. We were courting. Yeah. How did we manage the communication part in terms of, because there was a time you were in a different time zone?
Yes. Okay. We had to be very intentional about it. So we had a plan. We drew up a plan. So if you're in that situation, you must have a plan as to when you will be talking and how, what medium. So for us at the time, I think we had Skype. Skype just came in. We at some point even made use of Yahoo Messenger. You can imagine how far back it was. So, but we had this thing where you had to be on, and I think 4 a.m. my time, and it was about midday your time. It was about noon your time. And we had that agreement that we had to come online.
Correct.
So wherever you were doing whatever you had to.
I had to run down, make sure I connect. Yes. So the reason why I asked her to bring up that experience, that we're not just telling you guys just something that we've not worked out. It's something that we have lived ourselves. And communication in a long distance relationship is extremely important. Why? Because there are many loose ends. And so communication is the thing that will help you bridge that gap. And so if you don't communicate, if you don't have like routines, routines. If you don't have routines of how you work out this, people may begin to feel weary. The challenge with that is that when there are no routines, someone's partner's mind may begin to run wild because there are many loose ends. They may begin to just think, oh, is this the case? There may be many issues that are not addressed. And sometimes even when we try to use video communication, it doesn't replace the fact that I'm here in this same space with my wife. And so the experiences are not often the same. In those days, we're using some more like text messaging. Text messaging had a lot of limitations. Even the video one had a lot of limitations. There are times where you want to reach your partner immediately. You can't reach them because they are involved in some other things. And the other thing I wanted to react to what you said, you were talking about long distance relationships sometimes may not just be physical long distance relationship. I think you alluded to it in your comment when you said that your partner may be in the same space but may not be available. I didn't think of that. So long distance relationships, sometimes it might not, the general thinking people have about it is when you're living in two separate physical locations. Sometimes you are living in two separate emotional locations. So someone may literally be with you in the same city or in the same house, But it's a long distance relationship, if you know, but we're speaking more like
I think
figuratively.
the next point will highlight
Yes.
what you're saying.
Yes.
But just before then, I like that you mentioned video calls.
Yes.
There are different ways now people can connect.
Yes.
I mean, these days you have WhatsApp, you have Telegram. It's a lot easier and faster.
We have more options.
You know, there are
Right.
more options. But then, from working with people, we can see that currently there are people who have problems with the tone. I don't like how she said this. And the other is saying that was not my intention.
Yes.
So a lot is still lost in transit. You see.
Yes. Yes. So long distance, what we have said in this point is that communication is so critical. You have to plan for it.
Yeah.
You know, you have to set out time for it.
You have to be
You
understanding.
can't just assume that your partner will understand. You will catch up. No. Make a time, specific time for it. Yeah.
And be willing to let go of certain little things.
Yeah.
So you don't rock the little time you have to talk.
Oof.
Okay. So
Can you say that again? Yes. This is so important, right? Because the little time you have to talk is not a time to begin to settle long issues that so maximize it to build and to reinforce your commitment to one another. Fantastic point.
Okay, so the next point we have is loneliness and emotional strain. So you were talking about, the emotional impact of it. And seriously, we this is very practical, where because one person is not available to celebrate your birthday, it's like you just feel alone in that. It depends on what's going on, where you are, especially if it's a case where the other person hasn't quite settled or doesn't know a lot of people yet in that new environment. And when it's a special milestone that should be celebrated, like anniversary, the person is there on his or her own celebrating the anniversary. Maybe your spouse or significant other is very busy with something else. It could have an emotional impact on the relationship because the other is just feeling thoughts that shouldn't even hoover will begin to come up on the other person's mind. And these are some things that we need to be aware of. So it will be a case of, I was talking about understanding earlier. I think this kind of relationship requires a lot of understanding. You need to be understanding. You need to be able to make excuses for the other. You need to understand or accept why you're doing this in the time being, and tell yourself it's only for a while. It should be for a while. When you said infinite, I was like, ooh. It should be for a while, really. It makes it more bearable that way.
So it's important for you to make time to connect. That's some of the reasons why loneliness can really play a role, especially if both of you were living to. Probably if you're married, maybe you were living together, you were used to connecting, and all of a sudden one person had to travel. So you are used to a certain routine. My husband does this, my wife does this, this. If my wife was here, there's just some things like maybe you're trying to pull your zipper behind, your husband just does it. So now he's not there, you're just frustrated. My wife just does this. There are just specific things that your wife does in your life. You just know. And then
you start hearing people talk about being single, feeling like single parents.
There are just some things that your partner just does. Now they are not available. So you have to pick up both what you do and what he would normally do. Or both what you do and what she would normally do. That can reinforce the impact of that loneliness. Right? The other parts for single people who have not really had the opportunity of living together, there is some people will say that there's a level of legitimacy your relationship does not assume until you have been able to be in the same physical environment with the person. So, for example, some people start out on a dating app, and so they just carry on like that, just dating endlessly, and everything they know about this person is what the person told them. There's no third party, what we call a research triangulation. There's no third party that will reinforce, confirm, or rebut, rebut what the person have said. And so you're just carrying on. So there's a certain level of fantasy around the relationship, which sometimes creates a level of shock for people when they actually meet the person. And sometimes some people are very good online, but when you meet them in person, they are off. They're just different. They probably lack of social skills or something just off about them. So it's always good. We often recommend to people, if you meet each other online, which is fine. This is one of we're going to live with that. This is the AI world. So we're going to do a lot of things, even transaction. People do all kind of stuff online now. transaction. In fact, you can buy a property online before. Of course, it's not recommended. Yeah, but you can do it. That's what I was trying to say. So there are things that we often recommend. If you start online, try to take it offline. Try to schedule an appointment in an open place that's safe for you guys to meet and talk, and so that you can either confirm what you already feel for this person, or give you an opportunity to actually zoom in and look at the person. Very important in terms of that. Yeah.
Very, very, very practical point. Okay, let's now, as you were talking, I was saying some people might be wondering, are we encouraging long distance marriage? By no means. Okay, but we have come to understand the practicalities in our world today.
Yes.
So there are people who have been thrown into such situations. There are people who have walked into it out of choice.
Yes.
Whatever the case, you need to be aware of these.
Correct.
Okay, so another point we think we would like to talk about is trust issues and jealousy. Okay, you kind of scratched it when you were talking, because if you're there feeling all alone, if your relationship is not solid, if you've not built something strong, you might begin to think, okay, like you've tried to reach the other person a number of times and you've not been able to.
Yes.
You unnecessary thoughts, unwarranted thoughts.
Yes.
Could just come up and you'd be thinking, oh, what could he be doing? What could she be doing? Those I mean, they could harm the relationship a great deal. So you have to be in a place where you truly, truly trust your spouse. Your relationship is rock solid before you even want to attempt this kind of arrangement. Yes.
Sometimes people may feel jealous to say, like, you know what, I'm here caught up by myself in this strange country, and she's there enjoying, her life, talking with her sister, talking with work colleagues, and that may be the direction of the jealousy. More like, I'm here dealing with all this, or I'm only the one looking after the children while he's there working and chilling and being chauffeur-driven in this new country. That can breed a lot of bad energy. So it's very important for you to be aware of this. So when you go through this, you don't begin to feel like you are a bad person. No, these are some of the situations you create, some of these emotions in you that you have to now find a way to manage. It can breed suspicion, unnecessary suspicion. Particularly, you call your partner once, twice, and they do not return your call on the next day. Say, who are you? Where were you? Why did you not call? When did you see my message? Or why did you not reply by text? Why did you not just have a courtesy to text me so that I would stop calling? I was here worrying about you. In fact, we need to put a camera in that. All those kind of stuff can come up when people feel like, they are losing their partner. So they want to close in and hold and hold and hold. Yeah. That's not.
It affects singles just as much as well.
I think it does.
You're in that place where you're exploring this relationship, and you may not have even reached the point where you think you know the person.
Yes.
So inaccessibility could be a problem as well.
Yes.
Yes.
And single people want to be sure that they are putting their heart in the right. They are giving their heart to the right person.
Yeah.
Not somebody that will just smash it. Yeah.
Yes. So you see people who will then. They'll tell you we've been falling in and out of the relationship, in and out of love. Yes. Sometimes it's as a result of things like this. Then there's the part of financial costs.
Yeah,
of course, sometimes it's expensive on the relationship, especially when you have to do a lot of trips to see each other. And then for people who we sometimes talk about this and we focus on the developed world. We forget about the developing world where they do not have proper access to
power,
internet service. So this could affect things a lot and could make it even more expensive.
Absolutely,
because the person in such countries would want to make provision for alternative means of power.
Yes.
So you're paying for that because you want to keep the conversation going.
Absolutely.
You have to speak at a certain time, and just in case there's no power, I want to be able to enjoy my time with this person.
Yeah.
So that could also have its own financial costs.
Yeah. There was a time she was in the UK, I was back in Africa, and I had to pay for power.
Yes.
I had to pay for internet service, which at the time was very expensive. It was not readily available to everyone at the time. I don't know now. I also had to pay a lot of money making phone calls, which weren't cheap at the time. So these are things that you have to make sacrifice. So sometimes when I hear people say, "Oh, you know what, is this because of this obstacle, because I can't," so you're abandoning the relationship. If the relationship is important to you, you will make sacrifices for it. Nothing good comes easy. If you value the person you're in a relationship with, you will make sacrifices to make sure that you be with the person. So having said that, it shouldn't mean that you should break the bank, for the relationship. So you guys should have a timeline to say, you know what, this is what we are working towards. And the timeline is good because it helps you to deal with the insecurities, the challenges at the moment. When people have something they are looking forward to, they are able to bear the present challenge.
That's right.
But if there's nothing, you're like, when is it going to end? So it makes people go weary. Like the saying goes, hope deferred makes the heart sick. Is the deferred hope. You're like, when is it? You are just hoping and hoping and hoping and hoping. It has not popped the question. You guys are just going endlessly. There's no timeline to this. I don't deadline. No, it's not good. Yeah.
Okay, so another point, which I think this is a very big one, limited shared experiences.
Yes.
Okay, especially for couples. I mean, the reason why we're married, we're sharing experience.
Absolutely.
That's one crucial part of it.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in your life. I know what's happening in your life. I'm involved, actively involved. But what long distance relationship will do is to make you, for want of words, a stranger in the other person's life. If deliberate steps are not taken.
Yes.
Okay, but there are still some experiences that you may not be a part of if you're not careful. One of such, I know we talked with somebody at one point who said when her spouse saw her husband saw her after many years, they hadn't seen for, I think, since COVID, and then a lot happened. So it had been over a year. By the time he saw her, his remark got her into a state she didn't like. Which caused more problem in the relationship. What was his remark? Oh, she put on a lot of weight. He wasn't there to see her daily as she was making the changes. Maybe if he had seen her, he would have made suggestions. Or, okay, can we go for a walk? Or do you want to register the gym? Something that she would be able to take or accept. But that remark for her was like, oh, you just see me, and the first thing you have to say is that I put on a lot of weight. You see, but that's part of the limited shared experience. Absolutely. Because there are things you see on a daily basis that you will not be privileged to witness.
Someone said life is lived in moments. If you want to remember the fond memories you have with someone or the place, it's basically memories. And so if you are in a relation with someone and you both are not creating those memories together, it will get to that point where there are no strong ties. All right, those memories are the thing that pull you together. So when you remember, even if your partner is behaving in a certain way at the moment, you can have some memories of like, but she's not always like this. You're not always like this. But if you don't have a situation, an opportunity to create those shared memories, and there are external pressure which always comes into every relationship, yours may be different from ours, that you will not have very strong connections, something strong enough to hold that relationship together. Like, at least let's fight for this relationship because of these days. It's not very good. So you have to be intentional about. That's why we recommend creating an end to it, so you can begin to create shared memories.
Yeah, and I think if they communicate often, then you're seeing the person is talking, maybe remarks like, oh, I feel very heavy, things like that. Okay, so another point we have is uncertain future. This ones will affect singles as well,
people more
because there's that thing of, am I really in a relationship? It doesn't really feel like a relationship when it's like it's long distance and you have people barraging you with all these questions.
Where is he?
Do you know this person? Are you sure this person is not playing you? So there's that doubt. Then you're wondering, what if this person just shows up tomorrow and decides that it's all over?
Which happens to some people.
Or I can't. Or the person sees you and thinks, no, I don't think I want to do this with you. So sometimes there's that uncertainty.
And the challenge with uncertainty is that you can't plan with someone in an uncertain situation. So, for example, you are asking someone, so when are you going to introduce me to your people? I don't know. Oh, that's a good answer.
Yeah, it's true.
So a woman who is, who, the biological clock of a man and a woman is not, they're not the same.
Yeah.
So, so the lady is being, an average lady is being approached by a lot of guys. An average lady, all right? Yeah. There are exceptional cases, but usually being approached by a lot of guys. And for guys as well, but I'm focusing on ladies. So she's saying no to about, let's say, 3-4 guys just to wait for you. And you're not giving her anything concrete to take to her friends who are asking her, this guy, are you sure this is, because she'll have those voice of reasoning in her life, ladies working in bands. People will be asking,
Men too.
Yeah, men work in bands. Yeah, I'm focusing on ladies today. So, and they're asking her this, so when is he going to pop the question? Is he coming to see you? I don't know. When is he going to do you know any of his friends? No, actually, he talked about 1 or 2, but I have not met them. And there's so many uncertainties. It's difficult to love somebody you don't know. It's difficult to love somebody you don't know. So if she doesn't know you, she doesn't know your history, she doesn't know anything around you, she's going to be careful. All right. So you're wondering, why are you not reciprocating? Why would she reciprocate to someone who you don't even, to someone like almost like a ghost partner? No. So it's very important to create, to minimize your uncertainties by giving specificity.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
We are going to walk down the aisle this day. You are going to be my uncle. My uncle is in your city, so I'm coming down in 2 months' time. I'll go and introduce you. Our uncle is my father's younger brother, is the one standing in the explain things and do that. All right.
Even for married couples,
it's also important.
If there's no end in view,
Yeah.
then it's worrying. It could be worrying for either party.
Yeah.
This is why you see people who may have relocated to the Western world, and they have their spouses, sometimes even their children, waiting behind.
Yeah.
There's this expectation
endlessly
that after some years
we'll
join, and it just never happens.
Yeah.
When it's too long, when it takes too long like that, then it becomes very uncertain.
We have seen people who were waiting for their partner and they suspended their lives. We've seen children who were waiting for their dad to bring them over, and they didn't go to school. They're like, oh yeah, we're still going to join him wherever it is, and they put their lives and they ruin their future. So where we're at this point is very important. So long distance relation has ruined relationships, ruined marriages, ruins the life of children. So there are things you have to. So that's the purpose of this video is to talk about the realities of it. So when you are doing anything, you try to mitigate some of the shortfalls, some of the problems. Yeah.
Well, it is possible.
Very
it is
possible.
doable.
Very
so
possible.
Let's not get discouraged. Let's just take practical steps.
Yes.
There may be points you think that it would have been nice for us to talk about. We'd love to read from you. If you care to share, you can drop them in the comment section. We'll be happy to read from you.
Yeah.
If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, we would like to invite you to do so. Hit the subscribe button and the bell next to it.
Yeah.
So you know when we drop our content.
If you have stuff you wanted to talk about as well, or how we can improve our channel, because we don't know it all, let us know. Put it in the comment section. I will try to do something about that. Thank you guys.
And we'll see you on the next one. You take care.
Bye.